Hello YouTube. Good morning. It's like 4 a.m. or something. Still up. I thought I would respond to Earl on the Max Proud channel's bass tag. He's a pretty cool guy. Just like walks into Guitar Center and turns on the camera and just takes a bass and just rips some Motown, some Jamerson kind of riffage, and does some slappy stuff. So he's a pretty cool guy. I'd recommend subbing him. But anyway, he created this bass tag to get the bass community a little stronger. We gotta be tight out there. And it's like 10 questions about yourself and the bass. So I figured, why not? I will answer this bass tag because it's about time I do. Okay, so first question, why the bass? Well, I started the bass out of function almost. Because relates to question 2, but I was initially a guitar player, well, still am, but I was like, you know what, somehow in my mind, I was like, if I play bass warming up for guitar, that would make me just shred that guitar so hard, because, everything's bigger on the bass, and the strings are thicker, and the frets are farther apart, so when I hit that guitar, man, it's going to be like a toy to me. And so I got the bass for Christmas, like when I was in 10th grade maybe, and it was from my grandfather. It was an Ibanez GSR 200, which I'm pretty sure Max Proud loves, and I did a review on that bass actually, like a crate amp or something. And I started, just playing songs, just my ear kind of deal that I like with a pick, and just coming up with, some bass lines and stuff, just using the pick. And then maybe a year later or so, I was watching an anime called Beck Mongolian Chop Squad, and it's about a band kind of deal, And I was really digging the bassist in there, Tierra. Just the way he was playing, and the feel that he had, and the bass lines he was throwing down in the band. He was a strong member in that band. Like musically and as a person too. And I was like, you know what? Put the pick down for the guitar, and I'm gonna start playing with my fingers, man. I had those calluses on my fingers, and making your calluses feels, it's good memories, but it's kind of sore. Anyway, that's kind of, and then ever since then, it's always been like guitar's been my equal to bass almost. Kind of like they're each their own personality. Guitar I write a lot on bass I play covers and stuff, but I add my own bass lines and stuff sometimes too. Or like when I jam with people, it's easier to play bass because you can cut loose and stuff too. It's pretty cool. But anyway, that said, now sometimes you're playing guitar and it's just like it's time to play bass actually, Alright, so in a way they strengthen each other out though, because it's the other end of the spectrum, even though it's the same spectrum, and they make each other stronger. You take knowledge from either and you apply them both. So question 2 is, why did you play or start out on the guitar before the bass? And the answer to that is yes, like I just said. I started playing guitar around maybe 8th grade-ish. I'm not going to say like an age, because it could be like 14, you'd be like, well, you were 13 or you were 15 or something, I don't know. I just say 8th grade around that time, and but I wasn't very serious about it, I'd maybe playing maybe a Megadeth riff or Metallica riff, or writing like a kind of a thrashy song. It's kind of what I was into. Still am, but just not as much as I would like to it. And jamming around with some people, but I was playing WoW a lot of video games at that time. And then I got expelled from a Catholic school, as you all know. I wasn't even Catholic, and for some interesting humor that I'm known for. And then I had to move in with my mom and stuff. Then I got real serious about guitar for some reason. I was just like, screw this. I'm just gonna shred, screw these video games. Even though I've had resurgences of the video games, I usually fight it off. I successfully replaced it with anime. But with anime, you can play bass or guitar while you're watching, so there you go. Anyway, so yes, I started out on guitar, but then bass came later. But I started out on other instruments. I played piano when I was 6, up until like 14, up until I started playing guitar, kind of around that time. But I played trumpet maybe in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, somewhere around there, and played all the way through high school. You know, marching bands, orchestras, symphonic bands. Then I had to play tuba my senior year because they needed it, and I got to sit with my friends back there and stuff, so I did it. Wasn't a huge fan though. Then I stopped playing that, and I play guitar and bass just exclusively now. But I played guitar and bass, you know, in that high school time all the way till now, being going into my junior year of college, or at a university. So, question 3, what is your main bass right now? That would be this. My ESP-LTD B416SM. Not to plug myself, but I did a review on this on my channel, if you want to see it. And, yeah, it's my main bass. And it probably will be for a super, super duper long time, because this is exactly what I want in a bass, you know. I don't have a bass and then say this is all I want in a bass, you know what I mean? Like, you just buy a bass and you go, it's great because I have this bass. There you go, you look for the bass, that all the qualities that you want in a bass, and then you get that, and you endorse that, you know. So, yeah, and I named it after my friend who unfortunately passed away, Steeds, that's the name of this bass. And, yeah, he dug bass, you know. He was a very good friend of mine who, you know, supported the playing and stuff, and, you know, we're trying to get something going, but, unfortunately, you know, it's not gonna happen. But I will still play this bass, and this is, in memoriam to him. But anyway, enough with that. I don't want to get on that note right now. So, 4. Do you prefer 4, 5, or 6 string bass, or even more? As you can tell, 6 I prefer. I'll tell you why. I like the 35-inch scale length on this instrument. Let me move this. Okay. I like the 35-inch scale length on the instrument. But when you're used to playing the 6, here's the thing. You have the high C string, right? So you're used to having it under your fingers. So when you go to the 5, you don't have the high C string, so this is there. That's your bottom string, and it throws you off the G string. And you can do vibrato on the G string, whereas you couldn't really go down anymore if that was your bottom string. So I like having the C as the bottom string, even though I may not use it a lot, because I can do, you know, but I'm not really in good playing position right now, but you know what I mean, you can vibrato on this G string, because you have wood to move on. And I like the full range, and when you're by yourself, just messing around, you can mess around with chords and stuff. So that's another reason why I like it. And just the neck, you're used to the width of the neck. When you go to a 4, the width of a neck from a 4 to 5 to a 5 is sometimes like hardly noticeable, right? But when you go to a 5 to a 6, a lot of times it's much more dramatic. So when you go from a 6 to a 5, or it's a lot different than going from like a 5 to a 4, right? Because you have that high string, you're going, from a 5 to a 4, you just have to worry about the bottom string, so you don't really have to worry about that much of a change, because it's not really on your hand. But the 6 string, that high C string, is, you're used to it being there, and when it's not there, the high G string is there, and so you're like, what? I know I explained that very confusingly, but just know that I'm used to this neck, and when I go to a smaller neck, it's just like great mode. And plus, a lot of times those other basses, like a 4-string, would have like a 34-inch scale length. And I like to have the 35 because you have more space, you know, you're going over, you know, from like sliding-y kind of stuff, which is prominent in a lot of the kind of musics I like J-rock, you know. So I like having the 35-inch scale length because it's a smoother, more buttery kind of when you're doing bends, I mean when you're sliding the notes and stuff, you know what I mean? Like that, you know, you would have less space on the 34 because the frets would be closer together, and the scale length would be different. Because the scale length's different, the frets would be a little closer together on a 34. Who was my first bass mentor? I would say pretty much anyone I listened to. Never really had a teacher or anything. I wish I did, but yeah, I mean, there are people on YouTube like Scott's Bass Lessons. It's a huge one that you can learn a lot from. But I mean, honestly, I get like a minute into the video, I'm like, this is boring. So it's usually just people, I just hit the ground running kind of deal. You just listen to a lot of music and you learn in turn, and then you play a lot. You learn how to play the stuff using tabs or notation or whatever. So never really had a mentor, but I would say pretty much that, or anyone who's you're humbled by, almost people who with the technical prowess to just be like, you don't even have to like the music. It's just like someone's so good that a lot of people just like, oh, I give up, I throw up the bass. But I say, no, I'll just work harder at it. So maybe I can be that good one day and maybe understand those guys like Richard Bona or Tetsuo Sakurai or Doug Wimbish or John Patitucci or, you know, everyone says Victor Wooten, Stanley Clark, Steve Bailey, Marcus Miller. You know, of course, they're all, you know, amazing. I think Victor, though, he's not just like pure technicality like say like Patitucci is. He's more. He has a lot of feel, like "Isn't She Lovely" kind of deal. And then you know, guys with good tone and good feel. You know, you want to go after that feel that a lot of people have. And I think that's also a good bass mentor. You know, people that feel like Tierra in that anime I was talking about. If you have that feel, that's something you go after as a bassist. You know that. How do you explain this? Sorry about this. You go after that certain feeling. You know it because you're a bassist, though. You know what I mean? In that setting, it's just a vibe that you need, you connect with on a personal level and a musical level, too. So, yeah, that's my mentors. People, and I relate to J-Rock bassage a lot. You know, as a style, you can see on my channel, I cover a lot of John Dart, Lark, and Seal kind of stuff. And I connect with those bass lines, so that's why I learn and I play that style, and when I'm jamming with people, that style comes out. Even if it's like in a progressive kind of setting or a metal kind of setting, you know, I do that a lot of guitar kind of stuff. You know, that style shines for me. I know I'm explaining that really dumb, but sorry, it's really early. Okay, what finger playing style do you like using? A pick, fingering, or thumping, or plucking? Honestly, pick has gotten to be too much stress on my wrist if you're using a pick. A lot of people I like use a pick and they get super smooth sound, but I don't know, I use my fingers. You know what I mean? It's like you're hitting a pick against these cables. When I'm used to it on a guitar, you know, these thinner cables. So I use my fingers, so I don't want to play bass like a guitarist, you know what I mean? Like a lot of guitarists who say, oh yeah, I can play bass, that's the way it is, I can play bass because I play guitar. I was initially like that. But it's actually a totally different instrument, so when you're playing, you don't want to play the bass like a guitar, you know, just follow all the root notes, just track it along like an octave pedal. You want to, you know, have the feel of a bass player, so that's why I partially use my fingers, and I try to play like different kind of music than I would on guitar almost. So it strengthens my guitar playing. My guitar playing strengthens my bass playing because they're opposites, like I said before. So yeah, I use my fingers because you get a smoother sound out of it, in my opinion, and you sound more like a bassist, and you approach it more like a bassist too. I don't just want to play like a guitar player. And also, I put a lot of stress in my wrist because I play a lot of guitar. So I figure if I'm doing the same motions from a guitar to a bass, that would even add more stress because it's a big bass. And 6-string, I don't think it's a good idea to use a pick because you got more area to cover. Maybe a 4-string pick would be a good idea, but I could use a pick if I wanted to. And I've been working on a lot more slapping, using the thumb especially. But I can when I have to, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm not one of those guys who just go slap happy though. So I'm definitely mostly fingers and 3 fingers. You'll see me playing a lot with 2 fingers just because I won't need the 3rd finger, but when you're playing a lot of fast stuff, it's nice to have that 3rd finger in there. I don't use the pinky. I think, that's, look at how big your fingers are. It makes sense to use these 2 in this, but adding this finger in, it's so much smaller, so it's not a great idea. So usually these 2, but if you're doing speed stuff, I'm very comfortable using the 3rd. So, number 7, what style of music do you love playing bass to? Well, I think I answered that. J-rock. Japanese bands like Larkin Seal, Jana d'Arc, that kind of stuff. I've been covering so many of those songs from both those bands, but a lot of the J-rock bands where the guitars are kind of more open and just setting kind of the same, giving a big open sound, and the bass is just taking a lot of the melodies. Kind of like, for all you folks that don't know, like say kind of example like in Rush, that kind of setting, where you have Alex Lifeson opening up the sound, and then you have Geddy Lee doing all the melodies and stuff on bass. So he's doing a lot of work, because you have a lot of bassists who are happy just doing like a very simple bass line. And that can be me, like once in a great while, but as anyone who knows, I play guitar. I play really fast stuff like hentai core, caffeine core, hentai dance music. That's why I name my genres. And I kind of have that hot-blooded, feel to it. So that kind of applies to bass. I gotta be moving, man. I gotta be moving. And I try not to step on other people about it. I try to outline things, add melodies in there. But yeah, so that kind of setting. So that kind of music, yeah. And I like kind of groovier metal stuff, like say Gorgasm kind of deal. I don't like a lot of stuff that's I like something that just has a driving force though behind it, not something that, like say a lot of progressive metal, you'll be doing some crazy passage and then you'll be doing 15 times signature changes, and then you'll be hitting whole notes and super long whole notes and resting for 2 minutes, and you'll be again, I don't like that stuff. I just like some of that. You're gonna keep going. It's like an 18-wheeler. You get hit by that 18-wheeler, you're on that hood, and you're gonna keep going. So yes, primarily J-rock, as anyone who knows me, that's what I do, and I try to play it true to what it is. But when I'm improvising, it's when I'm jamming with people, it's different. But when I'm covering stuff, I try to play it as true to the tab as I can, true to the music as I can, because I used to just kind of write my own bass lines over it, but then I'm like, people watching it will be like, wait, that's not even close to the bass line. Alright, so question 8 though, do you play upright or synth bass? No, neither actually. I have no desire to play either. Maybe upright for a jazz setting. That'd be cool if I was like John Patitucci. He can go from upright, and then he goes to 6-string JP2s, Yamahas. That'd be super awesome. But my grandpa actually has an upright bass that I played on it for 2 seconds, and I was like, this is cool. But I wasn't really doing anything with it. So no upright, no synth. Yeah. And plus portability. I think synth-bass kind of is lame. Well, I'm just gonna say it. I think it's kind of lame. And except the Seinfeld theme song, that was kind of cool. But as a whole, synth-bass is kind of lame. Just get a real bass player, And upright bass, you can get a lot of those upright tones out of electric bass if you really wanted to. Just get flats. Be like Jamerson, Oh man, I'm falling asleep here. Alright, so 9, do I read notation, play by ear, or tablature? Reading notation, I mean, reading music, a lot of the music I play, they don't provide that. It's just what's available is tab. And I tend to do tab most of the time. I use, like, play-along tabs, like songs, so, you know, the tab goes along with you. It's like when you're playing along. I think playing that way is what I do most. I'll fix it by using my ear. I'll be like, wait a minute, that's not how it goes in the song if the tab's messed up. If the tab's too messed up, I'll be like, you know, screw this, I'm not doing it. But playing by ear, I tend to make up my own bass lines at that point. You know, what I feel fits better. So yeah, sorry about that. And so mainly tabs that go along with Songster. That's the main site I learn songs on. And when I write out my bass tabs, like if I'm like in jam with someone like, hey, learn these songs, they usually send me some sort of tab. They have like a power tab or text guitar or like a power tab or whatever, and I read the guitar parts and stuff, and I put my own bass lines to it. They usually have a bass in there, but I'm like, this is the lamest ass bass line I've ever seen. Okay, so so question 10, we're at the finish line here. Almost. Is there an instrument you don't play that you wish you played? Yeah, actually. Not in this life, you know. If I lived in a different life, I'd want to play tenor sax in like a cool band, like Marcus Miller's band or something. That'd be sick. Or EWI playing Cassiope. I mean, T-Square. Sorry, not Cassiope. Even though that'd be bomb. So I wish I could play drums too. I had a little short spurt where I played drums, and it was putting too much stress on my wrists. And I was like, you know what, if I'm going to put more effort towards an instrument, it should be guitar and bass. I don't want to spread my eggs in too many baskets. So, yeah. And piano. I wish I never gave that up. That was really dumb of me to give up. Switch to guitar. But, probably one of the biggest regrets I ever have was that. And I feel like if I give guitar up and go back to piano, then it's just like kind of doing the same thing, you know. It's something I like and I put a lot of effort into, and I will continue to put effort into, and I, you know, losing that, just saying, yeah, screw you, and then going back to that, it just doesn't seem like it would have to be viable in this life. Maybe if I get reincarnated, though. Maybe if I get reincarnated as Liberace, that'd be bomb. Then I could get some boys. But, yep, so that was basically my bass tag video. I just, you know, we're going to do one take, well, second take, but we're going to do this. Sorry, I took so long about talking about things, but hopefully you have a better understanding of me as a bassist. Not to sound too full of myself or anything. I was just responding to this bass tag, that's all. Support the bass community. Sub to Max Proud. He's boss. Well, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I mean, he's pretty cool, so you could sub to him. And, yeah, that's basically it, you know. Good morning and good night. Keep it brutal and keep on playing bass.